What's up, everybody, and welcome to Charge Sports, the official podcast of Oklahoma City Chargers, where we cover professional sports, esports, and youth sports. My name is Bobby Robinson, or for everyone on socials that know me as CRG Bear, and I'm here today with my co-host, Connor Anderton, or formerly known as X-Ray throughout his playing days. And we got some stuff that we have to talk about this episode. And that is about the James family. We're going to be talking about LeBron. We're going to be talking about Bonny. We're also going to be speaking about Jason Kelce's retiring, as well as finalizing with some things about FaZe Clan. Now, let's deep dive off into the James family. 40,000 points, Connor. How do you feel about that landmark for LeBron James? I have my statement that I'm going to say, but I'm going to let you go first because I'm not going to seem like I'm a hate LeBron James fan, but I have my debate about his accolades.
I mean, he's the first and only player in NBA history to have 40,000 career points. So, I mean, I don't hate LeBron James. I've never hated LeBron James, but he's not my favorite player, but to reach that he's in year 16, 17, he probably won't be broken for a very long time. So I'm proud of him. Still doesn't have a ring the last 4 years, so I really don't care. But good for him on reaching 40,000. I work partially with the NBA. I'm at work right now, so. But yeah, he'll have, that's an accolade he'll have for the rest of his life. So I'm proud of him.
I can say, like, his longevity is something that goes down as one of the greatest. You know what I mean? Without a doubt. Especially, doing something that he has done. But overall, like, in my personal opinion, I feel like something that needs to be talked about is every major accomplishment LeBron James has reached in his career, it resulted into a loss. And that's where, like, okay, maybe I'm looking too much into it, but it just doesn't feel like he's playing for wins anymore. He doesn't seem like he's playing to win the game anymore. And I felt this way about LeBron James since he's left Cleveland. He does not have that dog in him anymore. Like, the dog snatched out of LeBron James. And I'm just going to be honest. Like, you tell me, like, his last performances after he left Cleveland and did what he did, don't get me wrong, that was probably the best playoff performance we've seen. I give him that. Because what he did in Cleveland, I give him that. Because what he did in Miami, I don't take those Mickey Mouse chips at all from Miami. I want to talk about it. So I don't want to talk about it. But I can give him his credit for the 2016 championship.
Oh, my God.
But from there on, you can say, the 2020 bubble, they basically handed LA the championship in that. Literally. And
disagree, but continue.
They gave LA the championship on that one. Bubble championship, just so much controversy. If you was going to do it that way, you might as well just close down the entire season and wait until next year.
So he's had 3 different eras, right? He's had his early Cleveland years, right? Then he makes the biggest decision in his career and goes to South Beach, joins Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. They dominate in South Beach for a couple of years. They take on, Kevin Garnett and the Celtics. They take on all of the East, right? They dominate. No one wanted to play against Miami. We all know this, right? They dominated everybody. And then he decides to go back to Cleveland, where he started. Got himself a ring with a subpar team. We're not going to talk about that because they won a ring. And then he goes to LA, which, as someone who works this, I'm like, I don't want to see your press conference at 4 o'clock in the morning when you answer 2 questions. Love you, LeBron. But I think the part that LeBron that drives me crazy is that people think he's the GM of everybody. He's a GM, but he's a really shit GM. And I'll tell you why. If you can't acquire talent to win games, my guy, me and you both know this, you're never going to be successful. And this Laker team has been like this every single year he's been on there. They got AD. That's the one player they wanted so badly. We all remember AD gets traded from New Orleans to Los Angeles. They thought they were going to win it all. 2020, great. We had a fucking pandemic. It shut down the world for a year, right? We were all getting COVID vaccines. But in terms of his legacy, accolades speak for themselves. Like I said, me and you both know this, we're both not LeBron fans, but I can't dispute reaching the most career points in NBA history. I can't do it. And he's still playing. If he retired this year, different ball game. He's still playing. And he's probably going to keep playing for the next 10 years. He could reach 45, 50. He can almost have half 100,000 points by the time he's done. Like, that's going to be Steph will probably get up there. Steph's getting there. But he's only making threes. But me and you both can agree, games on the line, 1v1, who do you want with the ball? I don't want LeBron James with the ball. No
No,
offense.
without a doubt, without a doubt. And like this is, like I said, this is nothing against, because I know I'm going to get people saying, "Oh, why am I hating on LeBron?" and
Right.
understanding the entire situation. But when it comes to how things have been with his career, like it's just not it. My
100% agree.
like it's like the reason why I have my argument is because of the fact that everyone keeps saying LeBron James is the GOAT and always jumping at his single season and all this other accolades and all this stuff. That's great, but it doesn't accommodate all the stuff that he's done, hasn't accommodated to championships. In my book, if I'm a GM, it doesn't accommodate to championships. None of what he's done is 20 years off in the league, and you've accommodated 4 championships, and you've been to the finals almost 10 times of the 20 years you're here. So It's just like, when you look at what he's done in his era, then you look at the I promote this, the 2000s era. It was Tim Duncan, and you seen the early Miami Heat, and then you seen LA off in the 2000s era. Then you seen in 2010s and on, you seen like the early Boston Celtics. Then you seen Miami when he won his championships. But then he's fighting with Golden State majority of the rest of the decade. He did not dominate his decades. Neither sections he dominated. He was a great player. Longevity, great. Accolades is there. But when it comes to championships, when it comes to finishing out and closing out a game, he's not.
So can we both agree who the GOAT is? And there's only one player in NBA history, and he played for the Bulls. That's the greatest player that's ever played in the NBA.
Oh, yep. Me and you can agree that
ever. And I don't want. I mean, Kobe's a close second, and Shaq, and we can go through the whole list. But me and you both mutually agree that Michael Jordan's the greatest player that's ever played in the NBA.
It's to the point where the only person, like in my opinion, that's come close to what MJ has done is probably 2 other individuals in their own rights.
And
that's Kobe and that's Tim Duncan. Flat out. And Tim Duncan did it in his own right.
You went a total curveball. Okay. Wow.
I'm going to say Tim. You can't leave Tim Duncan out of the equation.
All time. We're talking all time, right?
Yeah, I'm talking. Tim, come on.
Can I give you 10? I love Tim Duncan. Can I give you 5 players that I would put above him really fast?
Go ahead.
Bill Russell. Bill Russell's number 1.
Fair enough.
Larry Bird, number 2.
Ooh, questionable.
Number 3, Magic Johnson.
Ooh.
Number 4, Shaquille O'Neal.
I can take Shaq over him, but the other two is very questionable to me.
Oh my, you're crazy. You were nutty for that. Okay. And then my 5th best player of all time is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I put Hakeem Olajuwon. I could put a bunch of different people there, but they're all. That's just my list.
He is better than Olajuwon. I'm sorry.
Who is?
Tim Duncan is better than the Dream. I'm sorry.
You were not in this fucking planet right now. What are you talking about? Are you crazy?
You're saying this because
you're telling me right now, grown man face to face on a podcast that's going to go on YouTube in a few days, that Tim Duncan is better than Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon.
Yeah.
Oh, you were a bold son of a gun. Oh, yeah. I hope there's no Rockets fans listening to this because they're about to give you shit in the DMs.
I'm telling you,
someone's gonna comment on this. Like, this Bear guy is crazy.
Timmy D is better than Olajuwon.
No. I love my boy Tim Duncan too, and that Spurs run with Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker will go on match with Boris Diaw. That was one of the greatest defensive and offensive onslaughts. Hey, they beat LeBron. Comes full circle. They beat LeBron. So. But, wow, that is the boldest take I've heard all day. Okay, we need to have a talk off camera about this.
But enough on that. I want to speak on the other member of the James family that's getting a lot of attention, and that's Bonny. Now, do you feel like the critics and the news reporters and the stations is doing too much around Bonny, and they should just allow him to play? As his dad said, on national, they should just let him play and enjoy college. Do you think there's too much pressure on Bonny as a freshman, or do you think it's enough pressure on him?
I mean, it's like LaMelo Ball and the Balls. Like you're born into a famous family and you're the next predecessor to your dad, right? I mean, Michael Jordan never had a kid come up that was like he's the next MJ. Like you can't be LeBron James. There will only be LeBron James. To answer your direct question, he went to USC, right? He had a heart condition, which Sharif O'Neal, Shaq's son, had the I don't know if they had the same issue, but I think the media wants to, and you can agree with this. Me and you both done media before. Media will criticize you and they will scrutinize you for everything. And just because he's not putting up great stats does not mean he's not a good player. To your direct point, is he NBA ready? I don't know. This is a take that I'll ask you. If his name's not LeBron James Jr. and his name is like, LJ Christian, is he getting the same recognition?
No. But the only reason why he's getting the same recognition right now, and the reason why I feel like he's taking the criticism that he's taking, is because of how much money USC is to acquire his name.
Bingo.
That's where, like, if he didn't have that NIL deal package, because he's one of the athletes outside of Shedeur Sanders himself that has one of the high-paying NIL deals. Archie Manning is another one on that list as well, being one of the three athletes that's getting a lot of bank. And then you also could look at Reese as well over at LSU. So, in theory, he's one of those big names that's getting paid a lot of NIL money to go to school there. So I feel like that's where the scrutiny, and that's why people are expecting these expectations. Now, if he didn't take no NIL deal package and he went over to Iowa State like he originally looked like he was going to, like the Buckeyes, and he went over there and then just hooped, nobody would have probably cared if he had, some fall-off games. He would have still thought he wouldn't reach his expectations because of his dad, but at the same time, they wouldn't have put him under that same microscope as it is being in a Cali team, especially USC.
I think to that point, too, it's like that team was so talented, too. Isaiah Collier is the best player on the USC Trojans, and Isaiah Collier will go in the first round. He's a great point guard. But to kind of conclude your point, if he didn't have that last name, he's just an average point guard. Like, no offense at all. Brian James, you're a great player. Don't get me wrong. You have a great family. I love the James family, but to your direct point, he would not get the same recognition. I'm sorry. You're a national brand. You have the most NIL. He's got everything he needs in life, right? Everything is set for him. Money, fame. He's got everything. He will never have to worry about anything because everything's already handled, right? His only thing is now he has to go hoop, and unfortunately, he doesn't have the height. He doesn't really have the. He's got the strength, right? He's a 6'5" point guard, but.
And I hate to put this, the person who should be getting the national attention, in my personal take, out of the James family, should be Bryce.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, it's always the youngest, right? Lonzo Ball.
I'm not gonna lie. You look at Bryce, the height, how he's hooping.
He's like 6'8", 190. He's got the height. He's a tall son of a gun. Like, he ain't short. Like, okay, let me make this very clear. 6'5" is not short at all. He's going to have the best upside. The youngest, and me and you both know, the youngest child of any kind of ball family that you play basketball is going to have the best upside. He's going to grow. He's still growing. He's only like 16, 17. The kid's going to be at least 6'9". I've seen LeBron in person. LeBron's 6'9", 6'10". He's 260. He's a beast. Bryce is getting up there. And Bryce is bigger than Bronny. Bronny's stronger. Bryce is taller. Taller people usually make it better than smaller people in the NBA. No offense. Most small forwards make it longer than point guards. Point guards get shipped out one by one. You both know this. Your point guard ain't going to last unless they're good. You have a favor in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I have Trae Young. My guy's 6 foot. Your guy's 6'7". There's a difference. Your guy's better than my guy. I can agree with that. So,
I feel like your guy is going to be going over and teaming up with Wembley, but I ain't going to go into that conversation.
Well, he can happily jump ship. He can take his $40 million and go take his 2 kids. We've been winning without him. That's the moral of the story.
Fair enough.
No offense.
No offense taken. He might be on his way out. So I'm going to say this to wrap up, this segment, and we can go over to the next one. Do you think the price tag for Bronny James's name is worth his performances currently?
No.
Have you seen his price tag? Have you seen how much he's? You don't think none of this before? You don't think he's worth any of that?
Worth and valuation are two different things. Let me give you an analogy here. You go to the grocery store. You find a Snickers bar and you find a Milky Way. Which one are you buying? I'm giving you an example. There are 2 different candy bars, right? 2 different candy bars, 2 different flavors, 2 different types, right? That's what we're talking about right now. Worth versus value. Value, you'll get revenue, right? They're going to watch it. It's like Taylor Swift in the Super Bowl. They're going to watch it, right? Is it worth that much? Is he worth the risk? Like I said, if his name's LJ something else, we're not talking about him, right? We're not giving him any exposure right now. If that name does not exist, great. His name is Bronny James. He's the son of a legendary NBA player. He's going to be talked about. So my apples to oranges conversation with you, Milky Way or Snickers? Which one do you want? You pick and choose. That is your choice. You'll cover both of them. You'll talk good about, but you'll give me the good and the bad about what we'll do pros and cons, right? But you're going to pick one, right? You only got to pick. So, valuation over exposure.
Yeah, I get you.
I'm throwing analogies at you on a Friday afternoon.
Alrighty. All right, so let's go over to NFL, and there's a few things that I want to discuss on the NFL. First and foremost is the retirement of Jason Kelce. How do you feel about his legendary career and going from, just being committed to, like, he's one of the few athletes that you rarely see often professional sports who stick out with the entire team for their entirety of their career when the team that drafted him. You don't really see that very much often. You don't see lifers, you know what I mean? That's what you call like Dirk and Kobe, you know what I mean? You don't see that anymore. So it's definitely, it is sad to see him leave, but at the same time, I feel like he has achieved everything that he could at that level, you know what I mean?
Right. Well, first of all, congratulations on a great career, Jason Kelce. You put the NFL on notice. Center is a really hard position to stay at for a long time. You're the belly of the beast. You can hit every single play. You're the only player on the field besides defensive linemen who are smashing a guy head to face 16 weeks out of the year, and you make it to the Super Bowl. So that's 20 weeks out of the year. So 5 months. But his impact will be missed. His personality will be missed. I think he had a podcast. They had a presser. And he was like, for the first 4 years, y'all want to get rid of me because I couldn't hold a block to save my life. The last 10 years, I learned how to hold a block. So, again, this is like the whole Bronny thing. It's all about face value. Jason Kelce revolutionized that offensive line for the Eagles. They got a championship a few years ago with Nick Foles. I don't know where the hell he's at now. But anyway, congratulations, Jason Kelce, on a great retirement. Your brother Travis is holding the fort down in Kansas City, even though I'm not a Chiefs fan. I am a Falcons fan. It's been a rough decade for us. We're not going to talk about it. My head coach that lost Super Bowl is now in Washington. A weird situation, but
we lost a coach, and you see people in and out of Seattle right now. We got rid of Angie Diggs. Oh God,
your boy Jamal Adams is gone.
Gone too. Like it just.
Hey, but you got a good offensive coordinator. Ryan Grubb's a good offensive coordinator. Now you need a quarterback. Get Geno Smith, get him a running back, get him a receiver. Get Jackson the Jigba coming off injury.
I already know who we want.
Mm-hmm. Who do you want? Who does the Seahawks want? You're the general manager of the Seahawks. You get to pick in the first round.
Go get us Michael Penix Jr. That's who you.
So you're going to say goodbye to Geno Smith after giving him a hefty contract.
No! Geno will teach Michael Penix Jr. Yes. Okay. I think that'll be good. You heard the quote after Washington beat them. He said they rolled us off, but we didn't write back. Yes, sir. He quoted Geno, so I feel like that toolage right there. Bring him off into that system. Bring him off. But I don't know for sure because that was my mindset because Pete Carroll does well with young players. But with Pete being gone, I don't know what type of culture is going to be down for this year, man. I just hope it's the best one.
It's going to be weird. It's a weird era in Seattle.
Yeah, it is. But Pete Carroll era is over, so it's just like.
Hey, my boy Nick Saban retired at Alabama. It's going to be a weird era.
Yeah, we're both sitting here stunned.
Bill Belichick's gone. Pete Carroll's gone. Nick Saban's gone. I'm getting old. I'm no longer a kid no more. I'm now a grown-ass adult.
Yeah. Everyone's retired. It's done.
I got to keep going. I can't just leave.
There is some things that I wanted to mention that is game-changing that I've seen that I wanted to bring up to you. If this occurs, and I don't know how accurate it is, Justin Jefferson over to the Chiefs is what I've been hearing rumors of, especially with the pending negotiation deal battle over in Minnesota. There's also rumors of running back Derrick Henry going to Dallas Cowboys. I've been hearing some rumors from there. So I wanted to talk to you about it. Now, this is not all I've heard is rumors on these. I've seen some posts. Might have been trolls, might have not been, but I wanted to bring it up.
Okay, so let's go with the elephant in the room. Derrick Henry is not going to Dallas. That's not happening. That'd be the dumbest move that they can make it the Titans. No, that's just, no, that's
He said you don't want to go there.
no. Why? You already have you just hold on. Let me give you this scenario, right? You know this. Ezekiel Elliott was the best running back in the league, right? Like 5 years, 10 years ago. They dump him 3 years later, right? They give him a max contract, they dump him, right? So you have Tony Pollard, right? You have a great running back. I don't know who the backup is in Dallas, but why would you go get Derrick Henry? That's not the style of offense you play. You don't have a run gun offense. You have Dak Prescott, who's a throw first. Why do you need a running back? You already got Tony Pollard, your number one running back one. I don't get that. That's stupid. That makes no sense to me. If they have the money for it, great. Go get them. That's okay. You're still going to lose in the first round of the playoffs. Anyway, it's Justin Jefferson. I could see that. I don't know if they can afford it. I think Justin Jefferson wants the last contract.
He dropped Stanling, if I know his name correct.
If who?
The third wide receiver, Stanling.
For the Vikings?
Chiefs fired.
He's gone. MVS is gone. It's be Rashee Rice. I just watched the Super Bowl. Who do they play with? Rashee Rice is wide receiver 1. Travis Kelce's kind of technically tight end 1. Who the heck? Oh, Kadarius Toney, who, golly, they could not catch a ball to save his life. Who else is wide receiver 1 in Kansas City that I'm not knowing? Anyway, not important. Could he go there? Yeah, but I mean they've known to develop wide receivers, so they don't really need another wide receiver in Kansas City. I think they need more of a tight end, but they don't need a receiver.
But if they do acquire it,
but they have to give up a lot. You realize Minnesota is not going to just give you Justin Jefferson for free, right?
Yeah, I know. They're
gonna make you cough up some players. They're gonna give you at least an offensive lineman and at least 2 first-round draft picks.
So bring up one of the big boys.
You have to. I mean, that's his face value. Or give him 3 first-round draft picks. I'm not saying he's worth first-round draft picks, but that's called draft capital. They want draft capital. If you're going to give me a star player, wide receiver that I know is going to make an impact like that, give me 3 prospects. We'll go get 2 receivers. This is a good wide receiver draft for the NFL coming up. Give me a receiver to replace him. Remember, you know this, and me and you both know this. Anybody's replaceable in sports. Look what happened with Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill leaves for the money in Miami. Guess what happens? Chiefs win 2 Super Bowls back-to-back. Was Tyreek Hill the problem? I don't think so. Which tells me right away they have a good offense. Miami has no defense. Sorry, Miami. Sorry, Miami. You have a great offense. Your defense looks like a kindergartner in the background, but yeah.
Well, the offense can't play in cold weather.
The cold, warm weather, you should be undefeated. So.
That's my opinion.
This is when you catch me at work, people call me.
Are you straight? All right. So, guys, we're going to be switching over to this biggest segment, I feel like, today when it comes to esports. And that's FaZe Banks reclaiming FaZe, reclaiming the FaZe accounts, putting a black mark, as their profile pictures, unfollowing everybody. And then we have seen a ton of FaZe releasements in the last week and a half. So, Connor, what do you think about what's transpiring with FaZe? Do you think this is just more self-destruction, or do you really think Banks can come back in? Am I saying, is it Banks, right?
It's FaZe Banks.
Oh, yeah. Banks is just reclaiming things.
I'm happy for him. Thank God. The OG's back. He needed to be in the starting position. I think when they went through that little weird transitionary ownership period, kind of like what Optic did, and they kind of lost all their original followers and started promoting stuff that didn't make sense, they kind of lost the fandom. And him being back is, if it was him, Temper, Apex, Blaziken, get everybody back. That's the moral of the story. Get everyone that we watched growing up in New York, that FaZe house. Get Blazify, get Norden, get everybody back. That's the OG FaZe. You want to get your retention and people back? Get the OGs back. FaZe Banks being back means that they have it under control. Now, did all the liquidity and all the equity they have in it stay? I have no idea. But to your point, I'm glad it's back. Now, what happens from here? Because we know what happened when Optic reacquired from Infinite. We talked about this last podcast. Is Optic the same as it was originally? No. They had to merge with Envy because they got to get a roster spot. So,
and then FaZe is THQ Holding, right? Did I say that?
That sounds right. Infinite Holdings owned. They owned a CS:GO team, but they weren't very good at CS:GO.
It was like THQ Stockings or Holdings or something.
This was weird. they had a stock in NASDAQ for a little bit. They still do, but the problem is they went bankrupt. And so when you go bankrupt, they just quit. So they gave back to FaZe. So basically they bought them out, they plateaued, and then they sold them back up. So they bought them, they lost a lot of money, and they had to regain the money back. So I think it's good for FaZe. I will leave you with this last question. Is FaZe Banks a good thing or a bad thing?
Me personally, and this is nothing, honestly, I think it's a good thing that someone who's coming in to rebuild FaZe, but I hope and pray that it's not on the same level of what he did, because you have to think about it. We can't keep discrediting the fact that he was involved with when they was involved in NFTs. He was involved in the transitioning from like the gaming content to the bloggers. Like, he was a part of the same movement. So we can't keep sitting here acting like, oh, he went a different direction. Yeah, he might have not had ownership at the time and couldn't say anything about what was happening up then. But at the same time, he was still a part of that same transitioning and movement, just like everyone else was. He could have just continued to do gaming content just like anyone else. He could have continued to tell his boys to do the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's something, you know what I mean? Like, that's something you have to, there's accountability. That's all I'm saying on that. You know what I mean? I hope and pray that he does bring the gaming scene back. Hope and pray he brings the old FaZe back. I hope and pray he gets the old members together and actually build something. And then I hope and pray that the esport teams that's affiliated with FaZe start to see promise again. I really do. Because it feels like with all this, I feel like FaZe is cursed. You even look at it on Atlanta FaZe side of things. I feel like FaZe is cursed right now. Look how many second place finishes FaZe have hit. They have not won an event so long. And so
I think that has anything to do with ownership.
No, I just feel like it's a curse. It's a curse. Just a curse.
Oh no, we're gonna get in so much trouble from that entire fan base.
Listen. As soon as all the drama ceases, you're gonna start seeing FaZe winning again. Watch. Quote me. Once all this happens, you're gonna probably see Simp go and win another title or some ish, or you see one of their other teams have been getting.
That's fair.
Shit stomped off in the finals in the last few years.
I don't want to get just roasted by a bunch of I know how those guys over Atlanta FaZe are. They don't like people talking crap about them, but I totally feel you.
No, like, I respect everybody over there. It's just, I'm just hoping and praying that it is what they're going to be building and it goes back to their roots and their core, they're saying. Because if not,
Amen.
going to tell the fan base again, because that's what the fan base is expecting this time. They're not going to hear anything else. They're expecting them to come back and really hope Banks comes back and rebuilds it to his core. That's why you've seen all these major posts. You've seen Attach. You've seen all these other major influences state that they're wanting to see FaZe back to where it was. So if he doesn't come back and hit those expectations, there's no more FaZe. There's no more rebuild. And there's no more chances. Your chances run out. And that's all I'm going to say to that.
Amen, bro. Hey, FaZe Banks, welcome back to the scene.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice to see him. You know, like, it's nice to see like FaZe and Opt. Now the bigger question is if Envy ever comes back together.
No, that's Hastro's already thrown his towel in when he came to Optics. So Envy's gone.
Yeah, I know. It's just
it's a new era, man. We have retirements in NFL. We got this shit.
I miss the blue brand. I really do.
But do you?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yes.
That's like you told me like your rival. Really?
No, it was, yes. The blue brand made us. It wasn't a FaZe and Optic.
El Clasico.
Envy versus Optic. That was the major. Because like when I seen it, Rambo Ray was on the other side over there in Envy, and we had
Merc. Oh yeah, I remember the whole squad. This was like almost, for those of you who do not know, this was probably 2012, 13. This was back on Black Ops 2.
Yeah.
This was a long time ago. This is when
Bill was on the team. Oh man,
foreplay. There was a lot. This is before jetpacks. This was like at a land center, like in the back of like a parking garage. That was like, we're sitting in a setup like this. There's no AC. The headset was we're on the Xbox 360. There's no such thing as a scuffed controller. None of that existed.
We had mod
on the default. This was default. There was none of this.
Mod junkies. What do you mean, brother?
Oh my god. This was. You didn't have anything. You had one grip company. That was it. That's how you knew there was nothing. There was none of the what do you call it? The stuff for your hands, so you didn't lose grip of your controller. None of that.
All right, guys, but we're going to be wrapping up there. It was a pleasure. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be back next week.
Appreciate y'all.